whatever, third, fourth, and fifth party candidate files. Or
Yeah.
one's out of blue or switcheroos, so it's sneaky and fun, so.
Hey, Lauren, just checking to see if you can hear us.
Yep, I can hear you.
Sorry for technical difficulties, but glad we got you in there. Yeah, we got packet on screen. So before we dive into the staff report, just one quick announcement. I did hear from the EPA this morning. I do have a meeting in DC on August 6th with their Director of Office of Air and Radiation, Trump appointed. So I've reached out to Murkowski, Sullivan, Baker's office here this afternoon to try to meet with them on the Monday and Tuesday before that Wednesday meeting and see if I can get participation by themselves or staff member to join me. Also, I know Prax, Tomaszewski, and Myers are interested in going on the trip. However, the governor called a special session the same week that this meeting was occurring. But the EPA has offered for remote participation.
Oh.
And so I'm hoping to get them a list before the end of the week of folks that will be in person and folks that will be attending remotely. So baggage will actually be in Alaska that week, along with most of his staff members, but they have agreed to have remote participation. So we've heard back from one office so far, and I do expect to hear back from Murkowski's offices tomorrow. So it's kind of late in the day for them right now. Anyways, we have that. That's good. So it's really good news. And I will meet with Nick Zarnecki and Jason Olds before I head down there. So I have my talking points, but I think that they have some more to add to that. On issues, you know, in addition to our conforming freeze transportation rules. So anyways, with that, that's good news. I'll work my travel arrangements tomorrow, but we do have sufficient travel budget to accommodate that for this federal fiscal year, so no concerns there. For the staff report, page 13. I was just talking to Jerry about this before other folks joined, but we did have our second subcommittee meeting on the FAST Improvement Program focused on coming up with final projects for construction in 2026. So next summer, we held that yesterday. By all the local governments, with the exception of the city of North Pole, did not attend. Though John Tardis DOT did bring their feedback for what their top priorities were for North Pole. Really good meeting on Monday. Everybody thought that the split in projects was fair, and everybody walked away from the table happy. And so we're going to bring that official proposal to the technical committee of policy board at your August meetings. So, and I believe yesterday I emailed out the official recommendation of that subcommittee, but though you may not have all seen that. Anyway, I get you a copy of their audience. But what we're doing with that, in addition to selecting those projects, is that we're proposing to increase the budget for the program. So raising that from 1.1 million up to 2.4 million, because we have $1.9 million next year that's not programmed to any project. And so it wouldn't use up all of that funding, but it would use up about 2/3 of it. This is, I think, a good, safe program to invest that funding into. So there will be two different decision points in August: the selection of projects, but also to increase to the construction budget for the project. So both of which will be action items next month. Under correspondence and communication, I did submit the letter to the governor supporting continuation of Road and Highways Advisory Board. No response received to date. I don't know that I'm expecting a response, but it has been turned in. We also, at the end of last month, we drafted a letter to the Commissioner's Office requesting that the AMATs and Fast County TIF amendments be submitted separately. Sticking on number 2 because it has not yet been submitted. And that letter went to the technical committee during the first week of July. However, 2 days before the technical committee, all 3 were turned in together. So it kind of made that a non-issue, and there was no action taken on that letter, so it's not on your agenda for tomorrow for action. But we do have a separate letter to the Commissioner's Office requesting information on our MPO coordination items, which we discussed at our last meeting. And so we have a letter with had 4 bullets included for the information that we're looking for. A 5th one was added to that letter by the technical committee, but that is on the agenda for action or for approval tomorrow. And then, as you saw via email, I did draft a letter of support for UAF's grant applications to the Federal Transit Administration for a transit maintenance facility project. That has been signed and given to FTA. Next page, page 14. So July is our office budget month. This is the month that we put together a draft office budget for the next federal fiscal year, and we have began work on that. I hope to present that to you all at the August meetings. We're not completed with our work, but we're looking at all of our actuals from this past year and trying to forecast any increases or decreases in account for our anticipated expenses next fiscal year. So you'll see that next month. And then public outreach. Olivia and Corey hosted the bike ballet event at the Midnight Sun Festival, that they've been doing annually. We've also received the 2025 bike race maps, 7,000 total. And Olivia's been hard at work distributing those to businesses all over the community. And we also created an online story map and public survey for the bike lane sign and striping pilot project, which Olivia has pushed out via social media. There's a short video, and then there's 2 survey links, one to an abbreviated survey, and a more in-depth survey. And we're trying to welcome all positive and negative feedback on that, since we definitely had polar opposite.
How do you get into that? Just go to Fast Man?
Is it on our website as well? Okay.
Yeah, it's on the project page.
Projects page, because people have been asking me, I said I don't. Is that on the first page that comes up? The little projects page?
Yeah, so if you're on our website, you just go projects,
Gotcha.
between pilots, and then I got a little nerdy down here, but you can take the condensed survey or the extended survey, so. I just feel like everybody needs to see Keanu Reeves' hands and stuff.
Actually, Laura Fishburne's hands.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's true because he's trying to choose the red ribbon.
Now, we also received the fabricated bike racks from the social development program at Hutchinson High School, and Corey is working on getting those distributed and installed around town. I think he's got at least one installed so far.
I
And
know
more.
there's one in Gather,
Cool.
and then we're gonna put 1 or 2 over at Louie Coffee. She's been asking for bike racks for a long time. And then Goldstream General Store is also gonna post a couple of them. He's been asking us for bike racks since we started the program, so.
Who runs that now?
Jeff.
That's okay.
Let's see, and then we also submitted TIP administrative modification number 6 to DOT, and that has already been incorporated into the STIP by reference. And also of note, with STIP amendment number 2 and FAST and AMAS TIP amendments getting turned into federal highways, we did receive that approval letter for all 3 yesterday. So we have that. Amendment number 1 is actually already obsolete since administrative modification number 6 replaces it. Okay. 15 technical committee action items. The only action item, or the only thing they acted on at the meeting on July 2nd was that letter to DOT's Commissioner's Office on information on NPO coordination items, things that I've been requesting at the last couple statewide quarterly NPO meetings that have not been provided clear answers or clear direction on. So we have drafted an official letter and we're hoping for an official written response to each of the items requested. And there was a 5th bullet that was added by the committee. They're requesting update on the schedule for development of the next state. And that was also one of the, as part of the approval of STIP amendment number 2, our federal partners are requiring monthly coordination meetings between the federal agencies, DOT, and all 3 NPOs to collaboratively develop the next STIP.
What is it now? quarterly, yearly? Whatever, they don't
Don't
require
pay
any.
on the draft difference.
Oh, on the draft list.
On the draft, yes. So as we understand, DOT will be, rather than doing another amendment, they'll be working on a brand new STIP. I don't know if it begins this fall or this winter, but we are asking for details for that in our letter.
You said Federal Highways is requiring that?
Yes. And they are actually going to be scheduling the meetings for all of us to meet on a monthly basis, just collaborative. At least monthly to collaboratively draft the STIP. So it'll be a STIP working group.
Is that requested nationwide of NPOs and state DOTs, or is it just us specifically? You know,
Just us specifically.
really? Do they say why? Is it because of the delay?
I think it
and everything?
relates back to the planning findings, the lack of coordination.
Okay,
So, anyway, I think it's a good proposal and we'll definitely make the time to participate each month in those meetings.
Lauren, raise your hand.
Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, Jackson, can you point me to where that was in the federal planning findings?
Yeah, so on the joint letter on the second page, it's the middle paragraph. This is not in the packet because this came out, this was emailed on Monday, I believe, July 14th. And then
Okay, so you're looking at the letter, not the actual federal planning findings, but the letter itself to DOT.
it's also repeated in the very first page of the federal planning finding. In the third paragraph. It says, in development of the 2026 through 2030 STIP, federal highways, federal transit administration, 3 MPOs will establish a STIP working group to meet at least monthly, collaboratively draft the STIP. And federal highways and FTA will arrange the first kickoff meeting in August.
which page is that on our packet?
It's not in your packet, because this letter came out after,
Okay.
or this week, after the packet went out. But I can provide you printed
That'd be
copies.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
or forward it to the email. Okay, page 16 just has a letter of support that I signed and gave the UAF and Federal Transit Administration. And then pages 17 and 18 is the letter that was addressed to Mr. Cleworth from the Commissioner's Office regarding the state match shortage. And then pages 19 through 30 relate to STIP amendment number 2. This documents the email transmittal on July 1st from DOT for our federal partners of all 3 documents. And then beginning on page 21 is the comment response letter from DOT on our comments on STIP amendment number 2 that we submitted back in March. And if you want to reference the responses to comments that we made, our original comment letter begins on page 20. So in any event, that covers my staff report and mostly covers items 7A, an update on STIP amendment number 2. It's been turned in, it's been approved, our TIP amendment is approved, and ANK is approved.
We have not gavelled in, this is not like a meeting, correct? Because there's only 2 of us, 3 of us.
3 of us.
We need 4 to have an effective, full meeting,
You need 4 out of quorum.
right?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about underneath item 7B.
Yeah.
So this was advertised as an open public meeting, but yeah, we don't have quorum. In the absence of quorum, we're not supposed to meet, but we're meeting. As we've done the last couple months.
Okay.
So we're gonna take up that issue underneath item 7B to look at our bylaws,
Yeah, all right.
and sort out what we're doing for these meetings here. If you go to page 32,
Yeah.
you'll see the motion that was made at the March meeting to have the pre-policy meetings be publicly noticed. And then our bylaws are on pages 33 and 34. the top of page 34, it shows that a quorum shall consist of 4 members of the policy board, and that in the absence of quorum, no meeting should be held. So the board needs to decide if we're gonna go back to the way we were doing things before, or if we want to modify the bylaws to lower or eliminate the quorum requirement for these pre-policy meetings. Take that up tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't heard from anybody on it, but I'm sure we'll come up with something.
We certainly can. Infinite wisdom of the policy board. Still much smarter than the infinite wisdom of the legislature, so.
All right, well, the next agenda item is the Bike Competitive Advisory Committee Roles and Responsibilities document. This begins on page 35. Rather than show you 3 sets of action items from all these meetings. Actually, 4 sets of action items. I summarized them into this memo, but basically as I've mentioned before to the board, the Bike Competitive Advisory Committee would like to change their name. They also want to add 4 new seats to the committee for representatives from law enforcement, the school district, transit, and people with disabilities. And they also want to change their meeting frequency to every other month, with opportunities to have work sessions in between as needed. When these changes were brought to the technical committee, they did approve those changes with the exception of the name change. They didn't like the name change. And then, so we referred that back to the Bike Competitive Advisory Committee. And so they met at the end of last month. And they did a slight adjustment to their name change, but they affirmed that they still did want to change the name. So they went from Walk and Roll Advisory Committee to the Walk, Roll, and Ride Advisory Committee.
Think walk, ride and roll, so that walk and roll.
Oh, that's
are not
backwards?
Together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have that typed up wrong.
Okay.
So in any event, all of these changes are captured on pages 37 and 38. Again, the technical committee agreed to the changes to the roles and responsibilities. Do I have it right? Oh, I do have it right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Walk, ride and roll.
okay.
Yeah, you just said walk, roll and ride. Yeah, I know. It's fine.
So really, the only thing I guess is at odds between the Bike and Pet Advisory Committee and the technical committee is the name change. But everything else seems to be acceptable to both groups.
So, but didn't the committee want voting members, not ex officio?
Yeah, they do, but they didn't make an official motion to recommend that they be voting members. They made a motion to add the seats. The technical committee said those seats are fine, but they should be ex officio non-voting. And when it was returned to them, they discussed it and their sentiment was that they did not want them to be ex officio. They wanted them to be official members. But there was no motion that was actually made at that meeting to effect. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think they were expecting the policy board to discuss it and,
Go one way or the other.
yeah.
Have we heard if the groups that are being added care one way or the other?
We don't have representatives identified
Okay,
yet for
we
those
didn't.
4 additional seats.
Okay.
We'd have to reach out to folks kind of at large to see who might want to serve in them. Through letters of interest or otherwise.
Lauren, but I'll raise your hand.
Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, Jackson, this committee even finding voting members for the current makeup has been challenging. Is that correct?
I would say no, that's not correct. The city of North Pole, the former mayor didn't appoint seats. And DOT didn't appoint seats, but we did provide both seat sponsors multiple letters of interest to choose from to pick citizens from the community to fill those seats. This committee has extremely high interest for members of the community to serve in these seats, but we need sponsor agencies to select people to fill those seats. But we've never had a problem with City of Fairbanks or the borough or the fast planning seats. we as staff can appoint 2 seats ourselves, and we've got a long line of people that want to fill our seats. But yeah, this committee has high interest. We don't struggle to get people into seats if sponsor agencies are willing to appoint them.
And if we make them ex officio, they would not count for the quorum.
Correct.
So like if they don't show up, they can still do business and things like that.
And participate in the discussions, but they just wouldn't be able to make motions or vote.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would propose tomorrow to take the 3 items separately. Weigh them in.
Would you? We could, I don't know, maybe okay time or I'm overthinking it, but if we did them all as one, the only contentious discussion item would be if they're. Sorry, I think we said this ex officio or not, or full voting members.
And correct name change.
Yeah,
So if we just made one motion to adopt all, we could discuss it and then see if people wanted to bring it up. And then make 3 amendments or just do it. It doesn't really matter. Whichever way.
I think you're gonna have discussion on all 3, so.
Yeah, that's my feeling as well, that at least the name and the membership are probably gonna be discussion topics.
Well, the policy board can do anything they want, but that'd be my recommendation, just be split it, but whatever.
Yep,
We'll see what the motion comes up.
for us.
Yeah.
Okay, then page 39 is your last action item. This is the letter to the Commissioner's Office requesting information on NPO coordination items. Again, I highlighted this information at our last meeting during my staff report. The recommendation was made to me to pull together a letter for the board's approval to submit this as an official letter to the Commissioner's Office to get a written response. Again, the things that we're looking for is that we need a annual distribution notice of our funding amounts for federal fiscal year 2026 for our STP, our TAP, our CRP and CMAC funds. Currently, we only get an annual distribution notice for our planning funds for operation of our office. So we get an annual letter that says this is how much money that you have been sub-allocated. But we need those numbers for our other funding categories so that we can update our tip to the correct amounts. And the apportionment memos did come out from Federal Highways in the last week or the week before. So applying the federal formula to those is something I can do myself, but over the years, we've preferred to be prefer DOT to tell us what those numbers will be because there's certain. There might be carryover funds from a previous year that are added. Some fund categories require an obligation limitation where they hold back 10%. Other fund categories do not. And so there are some minor adjustments, but we do need those numbers for 2026. And I've not been able to get those numbers out of our MPO, statewide MPO quarterly meetings from DOT staff. So it appears that these numbers have to come to the Commissioner's office.
When was the last time we got those numbers?
I think 2024. We didn't get them last year either. We had to make a guess.
Okay. And this, so that was for the fiscal year, okay.
Yep. And then with regard to the MPO coordination or 3C policy and procedure document that DOT has been working on, we did see a revised version at our last statewide quarterly MPO meeting. But the edits requested by the technical committee and policy board have not yet been made to that. Looking back to when those edits were requested, that was a year ago. It was June of 2024. And the edits are fairly simple. We're just asking that throughout the document, anytime MPO is listed, it be specific to MPO staff or the MPO's technical committee or the MPO's policy board. And then anytime DOT is listed in the policy procedure, it identifies either the division of DOT or the staff position, like the program development chief or the regional planning chief. And that each time there is an action, by either the MP or DOT that there is a time frame provided. So the document right now, a lot of places it reads within a reasonable time frame, with ample time, things of that nature, but we're asking that it be locked into, say, within 10 days or 15 days or within 30 days for each of the different actions. And they, of course, all would be different. But again, those edits have not been made for the document yet. Our next quarterly meeting, I believe, is going to be in September, where this is going to be back on the agenda for the group. And the hope is that these revisions have been made by September to the document to resolve the comments from the technical committee and policy board. And then the next bullet is the US DOT project prioritization pilot program. Looking at the US DOT website, this grant application was awarded to the state of Alaska, but the funds may be frozen at this time for release to DOT. But we are looking for an official update from DOT on this grant award, as we were, all three NPOs were eager to participate in that process to develop project prioritization, project selection criteria for projects in the STIP. And then potentially coordinate our project selection criteria with the states, whatever comes out of this effort. The fourth bullet is asking for a schedule for development of the next STIP. This was one that was added by the technical committee. As we understand that DOT will be working on a new STIP next, potentially beginning this fall through the winter. And then the last bullet is a list of engagement opportunities for all three MPOs and the project management plans and schedules for DOT's updates to their long range transportation plan, their freight plan, rail plan, and transit plan. So that we know when these are starting and what points we are able to participate in as staff, as well as presentations to our technical committee and policy board as those plans get developed. Yeah, Lauren, do you have your hand up?
I do. I guess I'm unclear why you're requesting the PPP grant and planning effort information from the commissioner's office. Those are run out of the statewide planning division, which would be my team, and we'd have far better people to answer those questions than a commissioner's office request. And we can get presentations for you. Sarah Lucy's leading the LRTP. Judy, I think, is leading the project prioritization. It's not really stuff the commissioner is directly managing.
Well, I guess I don't mind who the information comes from. That information can be provided to the commissioner's office for the response. But as we understand, these planning efforts are either already started or about to be underway. And we would like an outline of the schedule for that work so that we can share that with the technical committee and policy board. And so everybody can anticipate what touch points during these planning efforts folks will be involved. So, I mean, the intent with the response to this letter, the intent is to share that with the technical committee and policy board so that we all have more information at our fingertips.
Yeah,
Work.
those bullets just felt a little odd. I mean, to me, those historically would just be an email to myself or Judy of, hey, can we get some presentations on the books?
Well, I haven't received any requests to get calendared for any of our meetings yet, and I haven't seen a schedule. I don't even know if what consultants were hired to assist with these efforts.
None have been hired.
Okay. So any information that can be provided, I think, would be beneficial for all of our agencies at the table.
Our action tomorrow is to approve this letter.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, and we say, please respond by August 15th. So if it's approved tomorrow, basically gives DOT to a month to provide a written response to give us additional information. Okay, the next item, this is just informational, but there's a new US DOT initiative called Safe Arterials for Everyone Through Reliable Operations and Distraction Reducing Strategies, or Safe Roads. The letter regarding this initiative is on pages 41 to 42. And it simply states that within 60 days, the Secretary of Transportation are requesting that each DOT, in coordination with the MPOs in their state, develop a list of arterial segments that will be addressed by the end of fiscal year 2026. We have received an email from DOT's planning chief out of the South Coast region with the intent to work with each MPO to develop this list. But it's a quick turnaround, 60 days. So we will have this on the agenda for the technical committee and policy board in August. And hopefully at those two meetings, we're able to present a list. But reading the letter, I'm not entirely clear what the purpose of this list is. It says develop a list of arterial segments that will be addressed by the end of 2026. So I don't know if we're just looking for a list of our construction projects and arterials that are safety projects. Lauren, maybe you have some more information.
I'll have a ton of information for you guys tomorrow. We've had a meeting with Federal Highways to get some clarity on some stuff. We can fill you in on the data that we're using, how we're developing the initial list. But the Cliff Notes version is it's a list of data-driven locations with, you know, safety, operational challenges on our arterials, and it's just a list at this time. It's not even addressed by FY26 means we have a plan, not they're being built. So it's a pretty wide open ask, and then likely we'll be doing some sort of quarterly reporting to Federal Highways on progress towards our plan. At this time, it's not identified to be any additional funding, anything more than, I think, drawing attention to the fact that we have an overwhelming fatal crash problem on our arterials compared to other types of routes, and that's a national issue.
All right, well, that's very helpful. That's more information than I could glean out of the letter.
Who do I file a complaint with for National Department of Transportation making up a word? Distractions dash reducing? Alright, 15?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To get that acronym right, I call shenanigans.
I'll bring a hurt feelings complaint form for you, Grier. And you can see
Appreciate
it.
Bring it to our English teacher in high school.
Yeah. I see that now. Okay.
Distraction reducing.
Yeah, although I don't remember how
What's the
safety
difference?
loo was spelled, so I guess
Yeah,
I can't
right.
complain too loudly.
Okay,
The conformity freeze projects would not play into that list of projects, correct? Because it's not gonna be done by 26.
I think what Lauren was saying was that part of the list is what you're working on, what you plan to do. Then I guess is those would be on the list. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have gone to construction yet.
Right. I mean, at least two of those that I can think of would certainly be safety enhancement ones. The overpass and probably the Clifton.
Yep. So this will be on your agenda. Probably for a motion of support for the list at the August meeting. That's what I would guess. But,
Okay.
yeah, we haven't discussed it internally with DOT as to how we can show that the MPO is involved and supports the list that's provided to US DOT, but likely by the end of the month, we'll probably see a draft list. Yeah, Lauren?
Yeah, I'll just add, you know, I think part of what I'll be talking about tomorrow is how the MPO kind of sees their engagement being, in particular, you know, safety. We have our HSIP program. We can quantify crash costs. We can rank very easily through that very data-driven program. But the operational side gets a little bit grayer. And so, I know Fast Planning has done a lot of planning efforts that may have, stakeholder surveys and stuff. That's something that maybe we might want a little help data mining to find, some of those operational concerns that maybe aren't going to show up in some of our more traditional data sources. So I'll just plant that seed to
Yeah, that
Paul,
makes
kind of thinking about how you want to engage and what FAST might be able to bring to the table that's kind of gaps in DOT's data sets.
Yeah, excellent. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay, last thing is obligations and offsets. We're still sitting at 59%, but it was great that tip amendment number 1 is approved, so that gives DOT way to issue the next bid package for the fast improvement program, the second $1 million at the rest of the locations, as well as other projects. We are still behind on obligations, but I know DOT has started working trying to get all of our funds obligated this year, so we'll see where we land in August. But their deadline to get in obligations is really by August 1st. So I think it'll be a scramble the next couple of weeks. We still have $250,000 in offsets that we need to use before the end of this federal fiscal year. I did hear from the project manager on Powell Street that there will be a request coming soon for most of that funding for a change order on that project specific to traffic control. So hopefully I can utilize all that funding by the end of this month. We're just waiting for that change order to come in to approve.
Okay.
That's all I have for the meeting.
Thank you, Jackson. Question for you. Jackson gave us an idea of the fast improvement programs for the coming year. And in 2027 and 2028. One of the projects on there is, we were talking about South Davis Park and doing a chip and tar type of a thing in there on
Yeah.
the roads, which now is gone. When South Davis came up many, many years ago, my memory is there was a ballot proposition that was defeated by the voters as far as improving South Davis Park. So the borough couldn't spend money over there. But obviously you have been, and I'm wondering, how did that happen?
There was a ton of Rasmussen funding that went into it. I don't remember a ballot prop, I could be totally wrong,
Oh, maybe
but I
grant
do
funding.
know that, sorry,
Grant funding is that?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because interestingly enough, my father-in-law was super involved in it. Working with Rasmussen, getting the funding, going through Tanana Valley Youth Sports for that. So it definitely was not, yeah, if it was, there was a ballot prop that's been other money since then.
It might have been a bond
The
request.
bond that went,
Let
that
let me
failed.
dig into that. I was,
Yeah.
my time, but I remember something about maybe a bond request that failed.
It was, it failed, and I thought, okay, well, the borough can't put taxpayer dollars in a new park. That could be difficult. It just,
We could, it was just asking for the bond to do that outside of the tax cap or whatever.
would a failed bond vote prevent us from being able to spend money on it, or just use that type of funding for it?
no, a failed bond vote would just be to the bond itself,
That's what I
you could
thought.
spend. Yeah, no, two separate animals.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it's been a KIP project on that fast project. And
With some state appropriations as well for like the turf field and.
yeah,
different
on
things.
the other side of Davis, yeah, what was that?
Oh, it's Lauren?
Yeah, I'm sitting here with Dr. Google, so it looks like there was a failed bond proposition allowing the borough to increase its property tax revenue to fund South Davis Park. That maybe is what you're thinking of. That was 2001.
Well, that was well before the park went in.
Memory.
Yeah, that's why I don't remember it. That would have been. I would have been. I had just turned 18, probably, I missed that vote.
and I was just wondering how you could come up with a match for that project if your hands are tied, but it doesn't sound like they are.
Yeah, no, yeah, cause South Davis was developed well after that.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to see that. Higher than the dust.
I can agree with that, yeah. I'm sure it'll speed people up and get them driving through there 45 miles an hour, but. It still be good to get a little bit more concrete area and make it more of a place people think of as to use.
That gets a lot of activity in the summertime over there.
We have to regrade that all the time.
You what?
Have to regrade it all the
Oh,
time.
yeah, let's stop you from having to do that.
Yeah,
We're good.
It happens tomorrow. Yeah,
all right.
kind of some random other topics. Let's get through them.
Let's just give you the packet I think I've had.
I know. Don't worry, we'll hit you hard in August.
Yeah, we'll go through all the little things.
All right, that works.
Want to sign a rent check? Sure. Jerry's leaving. Well, Mayor Hopkins just that time.
First time, right here.
Yeah, that's second one there. Do you want me to forward you the federal planning finding letter, or do you want me to print it for you?
Forward is fine.
Okay, I'll send it to you and copy Kellen and Don so they've got it too. I don't think they were on the original list.
Okay, that'd be great.
Direct from Federal Highways.
That'd be great. When was the original STIP due? You remember? Like 12 months ago?